Every point of light you see here is a galaxy. Each galaxy contains billions of stars. Almost every star has planets orbiting it. And there are more stars in our universe than grains of sand on our planet. For me, this cosmic perspective ignites not only a deep curiosity for exploration, but also an incredible gratitude that I get to be in this galaxy, on this planet, in this time and space with all of you beautiful people. Thank you so much. This is an incredible honor for me. My name is Mary Liz Bender. I am a space documentarian. I'm a recording artist and a futurist composer. I have been documenting this incredible new space age that we're living in for the last few years. And as you can see here, I live just a few kilometers from Starship. This is SpaceX's rocket that they're sending to Mars to build a city there. I've been interviewing astronauts for years about the profound experience they have when they go to space. And I'm part of a small community of people that have been researching and designing the ways in which we'll take our humanity into the stars. Now, I mentioned that I've been interviewing astronauts about this profound transformation that they experience when they go to space. It has a name. It's called the overview effect. When they see our planet hanging in the void of space for the first time, they come back incredibly changed by this experience. They return humanitarians when they see the obvious fact that we share one planet together and we share one same future and fate. They return conservationists when they see the fragility of our atmosphere. And they return artists desperate to share their new perspective with the rest of us on the planet because they feel so privileged to have seen it. In 1968, the Apollo 8 mission launched to the moon, and it gifted us this now famous image, Earthrise. Apollo astronaut Bill Anders took this image, and when he returned to Earth, he was asked to describe this moment. What was it like? What did it feel like to take this image and to see our planet rising above the surface of the moon? And all he could say was, "We should have sent poets." When these words landed on my ears in 2016, I was a touring musician, and I felt that this was an intense call to action, an invitation as an artist to come and help astronauts translate their experience through my music, through art. And so that's what I've dedicated my life to for the last few years. And now, as I said, I've found myself at the foot of the rocket. I've been chasing rockets for years. I've documented over 100 launches from the US. And now I live right next to Starship, my favorite rocket, which is completely reinventing rocket science as we know it. Instead of sending 3 to 4 people to space at a time, we're sending hundreds of people with Starship. The SpaceX design team came up with this gorgeous image, And they were obviously thinking about the same things that so compelled me in my work. They were asking the question, how will we take our humanity to the stars? How will we bring our music? How will that shape our culture? And how can we design for this experience, specifically in their rocket? This is the communal area of Starship, where a woman is doing a beautiful performance for a crowd, and I envision myself doing this in a matter of years. So now, as I've been thinking about the ways that we evolve and the ways our music technology evolve, I've looked to the past for some clear clues, and I found something very interesting. Music and instruments have always existed all throughout human history, as far back as we can peer into our past. We assume that the first instrument was likely the human voice for our species. And after that, we assume that we created percussion using rocks, sticks. But the first instrument that we discovered in the fossil record was a flute made from bone. Now, as our species migrated around the world, our environment changed, our materials changed. As we harvested metals, we began to create cymbals and trombones and xylophones. All of our instruments have always been created from the environment around us and the materials available to us. So as we evolved and we discovered things like electricity, we invented the synthesizer. And then we invented the microchips, and now our computers and even the smartphone in your pocket is a robust recording studio that can access any sound that's ever been created on planet Earth. So when I look at it this way, I wonder how the next phase of evolution will shape our instruments, and then how those instruments will shape our culture. So as a space documentarian, I always love to tell everyone, we've been living in a new space age for a long time, whether you recognize it or not. Since 1961, we've been exploring space, but for 21 continuous years, we have been living and working aboard the International Space Station. 21-year-olds today don't know 1 second in their lives that there wasn't an entire crew living and working 400 kilometers above their heads on the International Space Station. And of course, they've brought their musical equipment with them. They brought many traditional items that make them feel connected to their culture. And as humanity has always done, they engage in group performance as a way to bond with one another. Now, there are many instruments on the space station. You would be surprised. A lot of guitars, a lot of clarinets. All of these instruments were designed by the materials of our planet for our planet, which is abundant with gravity. And in space, there is a complete lack of gravity. It's a beautiful new play space where we're learning so much in science, but we have yet to explore the humanities there. The only instance I know of where an instrument was designed using the resources of the station is over here. Don Pettit created a didgeridoo out of a vacuum hose. Now, because there's a lack of gravity in space, it's really difficult to play all of these instruments, especially the piano, the keyboard that's in the Japanese module of the space station. In order to play it, usually you hit the keys and you go flying backwards, right? So in order to play it, you have to strap yourself in by the waist, by the feet. You have to clip your music sheet to the wall so it doesn't fly away. It's not ideal. And so as I was considering what new tools we could use to explore this exciting unknown space, I discovered these music gloves. Now, I want to show you how they work, and then I'm going to do a demo performance for you. And I think it's important just to think for yourself in this moment, what technologies or materials do you consider from your own environment that would allow you to further explore your humanity, especially as we go out into the stars? So the wrist box here contains a lot of computing power. I have a Wi-Fi card here, and it communicates to the Wi-Fi router that is hooked up to my computer, and all of the signals from these gloves get sent to my computer. There is an interface in my computer called Glover, and that translates all of these signals, and it outputs to MIDI or OSC. So conceivably, I could be controlling robots, I could control the lights, the visuals, but today I'm just going to show you how I control my audio software, Ableton Live. Most importantly, there are bend sensors in the fingers, so every single knuckle becomes an input. And then in my interface, I tell it what postures I'm making. The machine learning algorithm understands my specific postures, my movements. Over time, it learns how I make all sorts of movements. And then there is an IMU. That's a motion sensor in the wrist box, and it knows things such as roll, yaw, pitch, and it knows to use my elbow as the axis for this graph. Now, also, when I click this mechanical button here, it knows that I'm facing forward, but I could conceivably be floating around in space, and I can change the direction of forward. And then it knows, again, that my elbow is the axis for this graph, so it suddenly knows things such as this is up, this is down, this is right, this is left, this is forward, and this is backward. So with this combination of postures on both hands and three-dimensional space, I can float around, and I can make music in an entirely new way. Now, I've got, for example, any instrument I want to cue up, any instrument conceivable. I've got the piano over here, the violin here, I can play the drums. And the drums have never been able to be brought to space because they're far too large, they're far too heavy. But now we can finally take an entire drum kit, an entire orchestra to space with us. Now, during my demo, I'm going to be doing some looping. I'm going to loop my drums. I'm going to fade up some tracks. I'm going to loop my voice. And I want you to try to pay attention. These are haptic gloves, so I'm getting all sorts of feedback, little buzzers that tell me where I am in my set. The color of these buttons will change based on the instruments I've selected. And as you watch the next video, I just want you to take some time to think about this exciting new space age we're living in. This is a film that my partner and I put together. The beginning of the film is an incredible day for me. I watched my friend launch to space on the Inspiration 4 mission, the first ever all-civilian mission to go to space. She paved the way for all of us to now have the opportunity to go. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much.
Our great thanks to Mary Liz Bender.
Thank you. And now I'm going to do a 5-minute performance for you.
We will turn the